Ag Bioscience, the #1 ag tech podcast globally, is now available on video. Hear from leaders and innovators across food, animal health, plant science, ag tech, and agriculture. Mondays at 6 a.m. on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. While you're there, subscribe and leave us a review. It's the Ag Bioscience Podcast with Agronovis Indiana. Get more information at agronovisindiana.com.
The AI revolution, transforming the Indiana economy. We look at the surge of data centers landing in the state and what's driving the growth. Plus,
when I said, "Oh, I'm moving from Costa Rica and I'm coming to Indiana," people were like, "What? What are you talking about?" You know, like, why would you do that?
one example of a family making its move to Indiana. What's driving the migration and the economic impact it's having on nearly every region in the state. And
a soccer player who grew up here at Grand Park is now using his training to start a business. I'll have that story coming up in the Business of Health.
it's all ahead on this edition of Inside Indiana Business.
From Indiana's business news leader, this is IBJ Media's Inside Indiana Business with Gerry Dick. Presented by Elevate Ventures, Indiana University, LIUNA, and the Indiana
really
Association
appreciate all the
of
hard work
Realtors.
that everybody here has done, and you have a bright future ahead of you.
This week expanding its AI presence in northern Indiana. 58 workers graduating from the company's training program at its $11 billion data center campus in New Carlisle. That campus employs nearly 1,000 people. Amazon also announcing plans recently to build a new $7 billion data center in Jasper County, the town of Wheatfield in northwest Indiana. These are just two of the latest developments in what continues to be a surge in data center projects landing in Indiana. Hello and welcome to Inside Indiana Business. I'm Gerry Dick. Artificial intelligence, cloud computing, our insatiable appetite for digital services fueling a wave of data center development across the country, and Indiana is emerging as a key player. Billions of dollars in projects backed by some of the world's biggest tech companies. In total, there are some 90 data centers in operation statewide, or planned or under construction as well. It's a number that includes some small centers, but the attention is really focused on so-called hyperscale data centers that can span hundreds of acres and include hundreds of thousands of servers. Amazon Web Services investing over $33 billion in data centers across Indiana. And they're not the only major player. Google, Microsoft, Meta also operating or building campuses statewide. Supporters point to new investment, jobs, and tax revenue that data centers bring, but there's also pushback in communities, concerns about energy use, water consumption, and land use, and impact on quality of life. For some perspective this week on why Indiana is attracting so much attention from the tech sector and why it matters, I sat down with Paul Brenner, the interim director of Notre Dame Center for Research Computing, who tells me Indiana is in the middle of an important national conversation.
National economy, national security. If you imagine that doing this right, developing the right AI technology can help you come up with advances in medicine, right? And we want to make sure that our Americans, our citizens have access to that technology, right? So that we can have these medicine advances, energy advances all across the, entire spectrum of our economy. And the risk is, and if we're not, and then other countries, specifically those that are our peer competitors, we become beholden to them in a lot of other economic ways. So it's really a national interest that we make sure that we do this effectively.
Why the surge in data center development and the interest from the biggest players in this space in Indiana?
Indiana's got great infrastructure. This takes power infrastructure, right? This takes land. This takes great sort of support from communities and from your state and understanding. And our infrastructure is good, and our state is open to having these discussions and trying to find the right fits to our community. So there's a huge need for the AI competition. There is to house all of these chips and the GPUs requires a significant amount of infrastructure and coordination with communities. And Indiana's poised to sort of meet those needs and partner in proper partnerships with these various companies.
How does Indiana, in your view, stack up competitively when you look at some of the bigger data center states like Virginia and Texas and some of these other states that certainly have been doing this for a while? How does Indiana stack up competitively?
From a environment and from a infrastructure, Indiana is right up there competing. And from what I've seen in terms of our communities and our legislature and our leadership in the state, they're very open to making sure that with right balance of our resources and care for our communities, that we're attractive for some of these companies to invest.
In terms of the pace of development of these data centers, do you anticipate this moderating or slowing down at some point, or is there's so much demand and so much need for this is going to continue for some time?
There are a lot of things we haven't even gotten to training yet now that we have some of these new AI technologies. So I do think we'll be training and investigating new areas in these big data centers for a while. At some point, I think that will taper off in terms of once we've got most of the trained sort of models that we need for the different types of our economic sectors. But there's a lot of these sectors we haven't even gotten to yet. And again, the data centers won't grow faster than we can actually produce the chips. So there's a whole national and a global competition to try and build chips. And we've sold out, right? The entire supply for the year is sold. Right, so the globe cannot make the chips to go in these data centers any faster. So there's actually a dual sort of rate there that will control things as we move forward.
Do you anticipate Indiana being mentioned as a major player in this space?
I think it can be if we do it right, doing that right really means working with our communities. Right. So for me to say, hey, to be a leader, it's just a scale issue. Again, I don't think all data centers are designed equally. I think they have to be designed right for their communities. I do think there's a lot of positive in terms of if you look at other sort of infrastructure that a state could attract and jobs. I think they're good. I'm generally positive about, in the portfolio of all the industry that Indiana would want to attract. I think we're competitive, and I think this is the type of industry to attract. But we've got to do it to match the needs of particular communities, because not all data centers and not all blueprints are the same.
Perspective from Notre Dame's Paul Brenner. Well, there's an economic domino effect to the data center boom in Indiana. New jobs, a broader tax base, and more research and development investment for regions. Case in point, Amazon's $11 billion data center in Holborn.
$15 billion investment. The community will see before they have a building fully vertical, $100 million of revenue that will come to the city. They will then see over $40 million annually from this investment.
Heather Ennis also believes manufacturing, the defense sector, and agriculture will continue to play a major role, to be sure, in Northwest Indiana's economy. Well, the multi-billion-dollar AI tech revolution taking place in Indiana also creating a bit of controversy with pushback from residents in a number of communities. The Indiana Chamber of Commerce says it is out to set the record straight about data center development, including water and electricity usage, and any other potential concerns Hoosier communities have.
It's education. We want communities to be armed with all of the information that they need to ask for the things that are going to make a data center a good decision for them and get the answers they need to decide if it's the right decision for them. You think about the massive amount of investment that is going into that digital infrastructure, huge portion of our nation's GDP. And so that's a lot of investment that Indiana can take advantage of, again, in a responsible way.
The Chamber is hosting forums around the state of Indiana to bring together legislators, industry leaders, and community leaders and residents to coordinate data center development. Well, when we come back, the latest on the border battle over the Chicago Bears and the Make My Move push in Indiana. Why people are moving to the state for remote work. Now it's paying off for communities like Muncie. Southwest Indiana is essential to elevating Indiana's future. Explore how IBJ Media, Inside Indiana Business, and the state of Indiana are bringing a bold vision for regional growth at Innovate Southwest Indiana, presented by CareSource, Indiana University, and Old National Bank. Join Governor Mike Braun and business and community leaders in Evansville for a conversation on growth, workforce development, and innovation. RSVP now at ibj.com/innovate.
Today, you either innovate or evaporate. We are accelerating the pursuit of progress. From the foods we eat to the heights we soar, because this is Indiana, the innovation capital of the world. We rally visionaries across industries, investing connections as much as capital, and fuel our founders from dorm room to boardroom. Fuel your innovation with Elevate Ventures.
The internet changed how we work. AI is changing what work gets done. A bank cut loan processing from days to hours. A student built an AI scheduler, improving on-time delivery from under 70% to over 90%. Most teams know AI matters, but aren't sure where to start. InAI is Indiana's statewide AI adoption effort, built with industry, academia, and community partners, helping you move from understanding to action. Visit inaiready.com.
Well, several developments to catch you up on this week in the continuing border battle over the Chicago Bears, and if they'll stay in Illinois or move to Hammond. First, we begin with what happened this week on the Indiana side. Well, this week, the Northwest Indiana Pro Sports Commission put on hold its master plan until the Bears decide whether they'll build their new $2 billion stadium and entertainment center in Hammond or Arlington Heights, Illinois. The team says its timeline for a decision remains late spring or early summer. This after the Illinois legislature passed only part of a funding bill for the project before adjourning May 31st. Indiana Governor Mike Braun and Hammond Mayor Tom McDermott still bullish on Indiana's chances. Well, still on the theme of relocating to Indiana, and a major milestone for a program that is attracting people to live and work remotely here. Make My Move, which has started 5 years ago, has now welcomed nearly 2,400 new people to Indiana. And joining us now with more about this success story right here in Indiana and the people finding their happy place in Indiana, pleased to be joined by Make My Move's co-founder and COO, Evan Hawkins. Evan, as always, great to see you.
Thanks for having me.
A milestone, 5 years, and some pretty big numbers. Give us, though, the thumbnail description of Make My Move, what it's all about.
So we're an economic development platform. We help communities grow by attracting talent and people to relocate into the regions and bring all of their economic impact with them.
And that impact has been substantial over 5 years. Give us a couple of stats as you look at what has transpired here, because there are lots of examples around the state of people who are picking up and coming to Indiana.
That's right. Indiana really is a leader in this type of economic development. So there are 36 programs across the state working to attract workers from out of state to relocate. So far, 1,000 households have moved to places like Jasper and Muncie and Evansville, and they bring with them a wellspring of impact. So they spend in the local economy, they pay taxes, and help those communities grow.
And is a lot of this remote workers? They're living here now. Maybe they're working remotely in Chicago or Miami or wherever the case might be.
Well, that's where it started, and that's where a lot of those movers are remote workers. But it has since expanded beyond that. If you're smart, if you have skills, you can bring those skills with you. And so nurses, teachers, engineers, all kinds of talent are coming to Indiana.
Looking at some video right now of Muncie, and I think that's a great example of what you're talking about here. Mm-hmm. The numbers, the impact in Muncie really have been pretty striking.
Muncie's story is really great. You know, for decades they've had a declining population. Mayor Ridenour really made a point of building programming to help turn that tide. And our program is a small part of that, and they are now growing. But they are one of our top recruiters on the platform, recruiting all types of workers.
As you look at the numbers around the state of Indiana, there's a sizable percentage of people moving here who've never been here before.
That's right. Half of our movers have never had any connection to the state. You know, people want to move where they feel like they belong or where they feel welcomed, and that's really where that Hoosier hospitality is a real asset for us. We've rolled out the red carpet and been really welcoming, and the numbers speak for themselves.
A lot of the focus on population increases has been focused on more the urban areas, the metro areas, but the numbers you're seeing really spreads around to small and mid-sized.
Yeah, a majority of our movers are going going to places that historically have had declining or stagnant population. So rural places, small towns perform really well, college towns too.
What's next as you look going forward? Opportunities for growth? Where do you stand?
Absolutely. I mean, we're expanding nationwide. We're also expanding into this job seeker use case. We're helping employers fill local jobs.
All right. It's an important company doing important work for Indiana. Want to increase that population. Evan Hawk, the COO at Make My Move. Great to see you as always. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for the support.
All right. Well, up next, meet a young entrepreneur shaking up the youth sports economy. Find out what's fueling an IU Kelley School of Business students' new supplemental product for young athletes in this week's Business of Health.
Whether you're buying or selling a home, the stakes are high. Realtors are market experts who do business by a higher code of ethics, and we're invested in Indiana because we're also your neighbors. Now here's the latest statewide real estate report.
Listings grew by 5% year over year, continuing to outpace sales. Pendings jumped by 30% from February to March and were up 1% year over year. Sales were similar, up 27% from February and 1% from last year. Inventory is tightening, but growing year over year. However, inventory growth has slowed. We've been at 13% year over year growth for the past 4 months, while growth ranged from 15 to 30% in the 2 years before that. Prices are up 4% year over year, $10,000 higher than last March. Days on market fell significantly, and immediate sales are more common. Price drops are falling, but higher than last year.
The challenges are real.
Type 2 diabetes rising
Small
fast.
businesses need help.
Alzheimer's cases rising as population.
Solutions.
They said it'll never happen.
It's too hard. Nothing will change.
Can't compete.
You'll never solve it.
And we said, watch us.
We build Indiana. The Laborers International Union of North America are building roads and bridges to get Hoosiers where they're going today and a new energy infrastructure that will keep Indiana competitive tomorrow. LIUNA's over 12,000 statewide members also grow local economies, earning good union wages, shopping where they live and work, and paying taxes. We build Indiana for good jobs and stronger communities. The Laborers International Union of North America. We are LIUNA.
Well, we begin our Around Indiana segment in Northwest Indiana this week, where some Gary residents and environmentalists are calling for cleaner steel-making technology at the massive Gary Works complex. They are critical of plans to spend $3.1 billion to extend the life of existing blast furnace operations there, rather than transitioning to lower emission steelmaking technology. Steelmakers say their plan will preserve jobs, improve efficiency, and keep Gary Works competitive. To southern Indiana now, where BWX Technologies is considering a major expansion of its manufacturing facility in Mount Vernon. It could involve construction of a new plant near its current facility along the Ohio River, which produces components for naval nuclear reactors, submarines, and aircraft carriers. BWX Technologies currently employs more than 500 people with an annual payroll of about $53 million. IU goes to Washington. The university this week launching a Capitol campus just a few blocks north of the White House. The 8-story building features space for research collaboration and opportunities for students just a short distance from think tanks, foundations, and foreign embassies. Well, a big radiopharmaceutical investment coming to Whitestown and an IU Kelley School of Business student creating a new product to help young athletes stay in the game. Business of Health reporter Kylie Veleta here now with those stories. Kylie.
Thanks, Gary. It's more news for Indiana's radiopharmaceutical sector, which is touted as the largest cluster in the U.S. The San Diego-based RayzeBio first came to Indiana in 2023 when it opened a production facility in Indianapolis. The company is now planning an additional $150 million plant in Whitestown. Bristol Myers Squibb is the parent company of RayzeBio, which makes radiopharmaceutical drugs to treat cancer. The plans call for 2 buildings in Whitestown, one to make the radioactive atoms that attach to the drugs, and the second to produce and distribute the medicine. And now to Plainfield for another investment announcement. Boston Scientific has plans to build a $138 million distribution and light manufacturing facility for medical devices. The Massachusetts-based company plans to break ground for the project later this year at the Plainfield Innovation Park. Well, about the same time IU Kelley student Grant Myers was starting business school, he also launched his own company. Called Peak Fusion, the small supplement brand is just 1 year old and now an official vendor at the largest youth sports complex in the U.S. Meeting his customers face-to-face at Grand Park is one of the cornerstones for selling his creatine. That's because Peak Fusion founder Grant Myers says hype and heavy marketing make creatine a crowded and confusing space.
The supplement space is definitely very saturated, but I try to separate myself by being human, being present at these Grand Park events, selling to athletes that I was once in their shoes.
Myers grew up playing soccer at Grand Park and was overwhelmed when he wanted to add creatine to his training, so he created his own. A pediatric study says nearly half of male athletes in 12th grade use creatine. It's one of the few supplements backed by solid science. It boosts the creatine your body already makes, creating more muscle energy.
I just really try to prove that health can be as simple as you want it to be. People that take 10 to 15 supplements a day are not only wasting their time, but they're also wasting their money.
Myers says U.S.-made Peak Fusion has no fillers, no hype, and delivers transparency. He shares third-party lab testing for each lot number on his website.
Which is not actually mandated by the FDA. We're doing that by choice because my name is on every single brand label. I like going through the third-party testing because I take my own products every single day.
The 19-year-old business owner added a multivitamin and vitamin D3 soft gel to round out his portfolio.
Being a double major in finance and accounting really helps me understand financial ratios and pricing margins to keep my business alive and really have cash on hand so I can keep selling at these events at Grand Park.
Spending time at a place crawling with customers is back to the basics for business and supplements. And Myers says he makes the most sales in person, but the products are also sold on the Peak Fusion website.
So the creatine, is it mostly teen athletes using the creatine?
It's also young adults, think college age. So he's made plenty of sales to his fellow college students at IU Bloomington. His goal right now is team partnerships where he can sell his product to the team at a discount. He's got his eyes on Indy 11, of course, because he grew up playing at the Indy 11 Academy.
That's great. A young entrepreneur. We need to keep him in Indiana, too.
Yes, we do.
Thanks, Kylie. Well, up next, summer tourism in Indiana, the newest destination and the economic impact it could have on the town of Sheridan.
Been a while. What have you been up to?
Oh, you know.
Oh, I see it's not flossing. I just added some secret weapons to my toolkit.
Huh?
They help me drill down further, digging deeper than I ever could before. Into my business and personal finances with Lake City Bank Digital.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Now let's take care of that tooth.
Add sharper tools for your money with Lake City Bank Digital.
You are all set, Brian.
I'm Devin.
Today, you either innovate or evaporate. We are accelerating the pursuit of progress. From the foods we eat to the heights we soar, because this is Indiana, the innovation capital of the world. We rally visionaries across industries, investing connections as much as capital, and fuel our founders from dorm room to boardroom. Fuel your innovation with Elevate Ventures.
The challenges are real.
Type 2 diabetes rising
Small
fast.
businesses need help.
Alzheimer's cases rising as population.
Solutions.
They said it'll never happen.
It's too hard. Nothing will change.
Can't compete.
You'll never solve it.
And we said, watch us.
Whether you're buying or selling a home, the stakes are high. Realtors are market experts who do business by a higher code of ethics, and we're invested in Indiana because we're also your neighbors. Now here's the latest statewide real estate report.
Listings grew by 5% year over year, continuing to outpace sales. Pendings jumped by 30% from February to March and were up 1% year over year. Sales were similar, up 27% from February and 1% from last year. Inventory is tightening, but growing year over year. However, inventory growth has slowed. We've been at 13% year-over-year growth for the past 4 months, while growth ranged from 15 to 30% in the 2 years before that. Prices are up 4% year-over-year, $10,000 higher than last March. Days on market fell significantly, and immediate sales are more common. Price drops are falling, but higher than last year.
Well, there is a new plan to boost the arts as an economic driver for Fort Wayne. The Fort Wayne Music Office launching this week to help move a 10-year music tourism master plan forward. It brings 7 community organizations together to promote the city and Allen County as a regional music destination. An analysis released last year found that Allen County has nearly 250 music-related assets, with over half of them dedicated to live music.
Venues will be focused more so on bringing in audiences and growing that space. But schools are interested in bringing in students, and how do we work together? Those students can be the audience for a venue and vice versa. So how do we help everyone and kind of see that whole picture? It's really important to just see that whole broad perspective of the music economy.
Well, the analysis found that Fort Wayne's music ecosystem is responsible for, get this, nearly 7,000 jobs. Well, in Indiana is the state's marketing message to convince Hoosiers and those outside Indiana to spend time and money in the state. Tourism, big business in Indiana. The state raked in nearly $17 billion from tourism just 2 years ago. The latest attraction, it's in the small town of Sheridan in Hamilton County. Skylake Ventures, a $100 million year-round amusement park, opening the first phase this week of what is expected to be a 6-year development. The project includes a lake water adventure area, an all-season tubing hill, and a tree topper rope course. Indiana Destination Development Corporation interim CEO Amy Howell says 83 million people visited Indiana attractions last year, and amusement parks played a big role.
A lot of them are considered playcations, to where they want to actually do an experience. So it's an activity-focused travel adventure. And mostly we're seeing that, it could be solos, it could be couples, it could be families, it could be multi-generational. So this kind of aspect for Skylake, the Holiday World, Splash and Safari, the Holiday Beach, the Indiana Beach, at Lake Schaefer, these are the type of attractions that people can spend more than one day. And that's what we want people to do, is spend more than one day in Indiana.
Howell also notes a growing trend in summer travel patterns. More people opting to experience the Hoosier outdoors, including Indiana's 32 state parks and reservoirs. Well, on now to riding roller coasters at a landmark Indiana amusement park. Now on an upward trajectory. Indiana Beach Amusement Park in Monticello back in business. Indiana Beach on the brink of shutting down after 94 years in operation, now riding a new wave. The theme park in Monticello celebrating 100 years in business this year. All thanks to Chicago businessman Gene Staples, who took over operations at Indiana Beach in 2020. Well, still the number one on the bucket list for Hoosier tourist destinations, it's Indiana Dunes National Park in Northwest Indiana. And that's where we leave you this week. I'm Gerry Dick. Thanks for joining us. Go out and make it a successful week.
We build Indiana. The Laborers International Union of North America are building roads and bridges to get Hoosiers where they're going today, and a new energy infrastructure that will keep Indiana competitive tomorrow. LIUNA's over 12,000 statewide members also grow local economies, earning good union wages, shopping where they live and work, and paying taxes. We build Indiana for good jobs and stronger communities. The Laborers International Union of North America. We are LIUNA.
Been a while. What have you been up to?
Oh,
Oh, I see it's not flossing. I just added some secret weapons to my toolkit.
Huh?
They help me drill down further, digging deeper than I ever could before. Into my business and personal finances with Lake City Bank Digital.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Now let's take care of that tooth.
Add sharper tools for your money with Lake City Bank Digital.
You are all set, Brian.
I'm Devin.
The internet changed how we work. AI is changing what work gets done. A bank cut loan processing from days to hours. A student built an AI scheduler, improving on-time delivery from under 70% to over 90%. Most teams know AI matters, but aren't sure where to start. InAI is Indiana's statewide AI adoption effort, built with industry, academia, and community partners, helping you move from understanding to action. Visit inaiready.com.